It's your boy KingMumbles, East 905, King's Court Network. So we are going to be doing another interview shortly. Um, we are going to be interviewing an old friend of mine, Kelvin, who runs. Well, we're gonna get the info Black Sun Comics. So he's an artist, designer, whatnot. Okay, so we have something. He should be coming in a couple of minutes here. Apologize. As something is going on with my computer, so I had to go online with my phone for this interview here. Okay, so basically, we are going to be trying this year to do more interviews than we did last year. Okay, I do think he's coming in here now. There he is. All right, so let's bring him on to the live here. Hey, Calvin, how you doing? How you doing?
KingMumbles in the house. It's been a while. What's up? I can hear you.
Yeah, man. How you doing? How you doing? I'm
I
doing
am
well.
good. I am good.
Okay, so I said everybody, he Black Sun Comics, he's the artist, I guess author. I usually let the person to let them know who he is. We are old friends. I've known him like
Oh my
20
gosh.
years now.
Yeah.
Long time. Do different things. So and the name seems different than I remember.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why don't you give them an introduction on who you are and what Black Sun Comics is? Because I've been the last couple of weeks looking into it a lot. It's very interesting and everything like that. So just a quick rundown of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is KELVIN Nyeusi-Mawazo. I am a author and illustrator and owner of a publishing company named Black Sun Comics, and we create Afrofuturist comics and graphic novels. If you're not familiar with the term Afrofuturism, it's basically what I like to call science fiction, but from a Black perspective. So the protagonist will always be characters of African descent. It'll have little bits of African history sprinkled throughout. So that's in a nutshell what we do. And you're right, Phil. I remember you from back in the East 905 days, emceeing in the session. So it's good to finally catch up. A thought came to my head. I remember years and years ago, we were at a freestyle session, and we're like, "What? Where's Phil? Phil's always at these." But then we remembered that you had twins. So we're like, yeah, he's busy being a dad. Props to you.
Yes, yes. So so is you say we? So is there like a team of you guys that do it, or is it just you?
Yeah.
How is it Black Sun? Yeah.
Great question. So it started with just me, but as time went on, it's a very small team. So I work with another brother named Tugstar, who's a co-author. So
Mm.
I created the original idea, but then it got to a point where it was too big for me to handle on my own. So I enlisted some help. And Tugs is a spoken word poet. He's from the UK. He's of
Mm.
Ghanaian descent, but from the UK, and now he lives in Canada. And we met through a mutual friend, and yeah, we just kind of clicked. So he helps me with the writing portion of it. I do all the artwork, and then my wife helps me edit, and that's the team. It's just tiny team,
Okay.
but we're trying to do big things. Yeah.
So, for those that don't know, like me and Calvin's connection has mostly been through music, and whatnot. But I do remember you've always been arty and like arts and photo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been doing the Black Sun comics?
So that I've been doing since officially since 2017. But you're right. I've always been into art and drawing, from back in the day, and I've always been into comics. I just love that medium for storytelling, and I always said to myself one day I would do my own thing. And it got to a point where, we're not getting any younger, right? So I just wanted to execute on my idea and see how it was received by people. And fortunately, it was received well. It debuted at something called the Black Speculative Arts Movement back in actually, sorry, 2016, not 2017, at the Black Speculative Arts Movement in 2016, and it got a really good reception from there, and it just kind of grew bit by bit by bit, and so yeah, to the point where we are today. It's still going on. So I feel very blessed.
Okay. Because you said that you only all your stories are surrounded by black people and everything like that. I've noticed because Jordan Peele said the same things about the movies that he does.
Yeah.
Um, have you seen or gotten? Because I've seen some from him. Have you seen or gotten any backlash or any negative comments from not like non-black people about only doing it with black art, or have it like so far all been positive?
Yeah, of course. There's always negative feedback, but I don't care. So that's the one thing, um, because the thing is, there's not very many avenues where Black folks control the stories that are told about us.
Yeah.
So usually if it's negative feedback, it's usually from someone who's trolling, right? Because if you're living in the world today and you're aware of politics and racism and all that sort of thing, there's a need for what we do, right? There's a need for Afrofuturism. There's a need to be able to see ourselves in positive and empowering depictions in science fiction and fantasy, which I just happen to be a fan of. So overall, the response has been very positive from all kinds of people. But in regards to your question about negative feedback, yeah, there's always going to be that. But that's not my problem. If someone has a problem with it, they just go do your thing. That's fine.
Okay, so one question, because there's a couple of questions I like to ask all the people, especially that do business and do stuff. And knowing you for so long, the stuff that you've done, I really want to ask here of if you could go into a time machine to, well, because I know you well, if you could go back and meet with high school Kelvin and give him one message to benefit you, what would you or your advice to him or message be like to him?
Oh wow,
Knowing
that's a good question. That's an excellent question. I think the advice I would give is uh, don't let anyone try and talk you out of your dreams. So if it's something that you feel very strongly about and very passionate about, and you dedicated time and energy and your heart and soul into it, you got to keep doing it, no matter what people will tell you. Because I say this often, no matter what you do, someone is going to hate what it is that you do. Doesn't matter, right? You draw a picture of a nice, pretty flower, and you think that that isn't going to upset anyone, but it will. So you can't let that fear or that anxiety about doing something, expressing yourself, you can't let that stop you. Because no matter what you do, some people will hate it. So who cares? Just go and do it, right? Because on the other side of it, there's going to be a lot of people that will probably like and resonate, and your idea will resonate with them.
Okay. 2016, so it's been quite a while. Um, Another question I like to ask, especially entrepreneurs, doing this as a business and as a passion and all of that, there after all like these years, because I guess what yeah, so it's been about 5 years. Do you
Yeah.
wish like you knew started business? What have you learned you knew at the beginning? Like, what was your learning curve that you wish you knew at the beginning?
That's another good question. Hey, um, that's a difficult one for me to answer. I really got to think about that, because as you
Okay.
go along, like, okay, here's the thing. There's no way to know everything. You research and you find
Yeah.
out as much as you can, but there's always going to be something that you don't know. Um, so it's really constant learning, right? There's still things that I'm figuring out and discovering now, but the idea is to just
Yeah.
get started, right? And that's probably the hardest part, because a lot of times if you have an idea and you want to start something, start a business, you might even talk yourself out of it, right? But just start. And as you keep pushing forward, you'll learn things and you'll make mistakes, and those mistakes are good as long as you learn from those mistakes. And you just make educated decisions. Like sometimes it's educated guesses, and you see, and sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're wrong. But that's just what it is. Yeah. So I don't really have one thing, because I'm learning everything still. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is the goals now for Black Sun Comics, like short term to long term? Like, looking to go into TV, movie, like the just more different comics? Where's the goal of where you're trying to take it to?
Yep. Another great question. So for the short term, so Black Sun is it's a series of comics. It's a 7-part series, and I'm looking to finish that. Actually, let me go back. So Black Sun will be a kind of like a 3-season comic series. If you think of a TV show on Netflix, how it has different seasons, Black Sun is kind
Mm-hmm.
of structured the same way. So there's season 1, season 2, and season 3. Um, Season 1, there's 5 books in season 1 right now that are out. People can buy them on Amazon. And there's 2 more books that are coming out, which I want to have finished for April of 2023. There's an event called the Toronto Comic Arts Festival, and we want to premiere those books, as well as a collected edition at that event. Also, I
Okay.
plan on putting out an anthology of short Afrofuturist stories. So at that point, I'm going to be soliciting writers to do their story pitches, and that sort of thing. And I want to have an anthology out too, probably towards the summer, late summer of 2023. So that's what's happening in the short term. I have been looking into animation. Ideally, I would like to have a cartoon series made of it, but that's easier said than done. Animation is very expensive, very much expensive. I got some quotes, and I'm hearing anything from 500 to $5,000 to $10,000 per second of animation. I'm like, wow, okay. So yeah. So, we're working. We've been in talks with some people, but that hasn't panned out yet, but we're still pushing towards that, ideally. Yeah.
Okay. Now I guess more not that like serious questions, but because of what you do, I'm gonna give you some choices. You're sci-fi, obviously comic guy thing. So
yeah,
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek. Do I need to say why?
Let me know. I agree, but why do you like Star Wars?
Star Wars is cool. I am a fan of Star Wars as well. Not the the original three. I love those ones. The newer ones, I could, they're neither here or there for me. But the original ones were classics. And even though I'm a fan of Star Wars, I like Star Trek better because there's more science in it. I like how they attempt to explain how they do what they do, like the warp drive, the science behind that. I like the politics between the different alien cultures, right? It mimics a lot of stuff that happens on Earth, right? It's very topical. And then they also had Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where they had Benjamin Sisko as the captain. And that is one of the only positive and empowering images of blackness that I've ever seen in any kind of mainstream science fiction show ever. Right? Star Trek Deep Space Nine is one of the only ones to do that. So kudos to those writers. And just the storytelling is more in depth. Oh, sorry, say again.
Yeah. My sister loves bothering me by purposely pretending like they're the same. So she'll mix them up on purpose. Like it doesn't matter. Just know that it annoys me. Star Wars, Star Trek, it's the same thing. And I look at it, I'm like, right.
It's like, no, it's not the same thing. It's very different. But I get it from someone who doesn't know anything about it. Looking in on it, see a bunch of spaceships, and they don't know. Whatever. The nerds know.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel. All the way.
All the
DC,
way?
All the way. I started. The funny thing is, my first comic was actually a Superman comic. My grandmother bought it for me when I was about 5 years old, and it was cool. But Superman became very boring to me, like a character that can do anything and was all powerful. It didn't interest me. But then when you go to Marvel, those characters, they had flaws, right? They had weaknesses, and that's what made them interesting. And then I really got heavily into X-Men. So anything X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, Excalibur, all that stuff I gobbled up. So yeah, Marvel all the way. And then they would do all the crossovers and stuff and Secret Wars and everything. It was dope. So yeah, Marvel, absolutely.
I totally agree with you. The only thing is better television shows. DC has better television shows.
See, Marvel I haven't had a chance to catch anything.
Oh yeah, I'm in all of that. Flash World, all of that. Their their TV shows are better than Marvel's TV shows, but in everything, in every other aspect, yes, I'm Team Marvel as well.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check out any of the TV shows, but I will say Batman is my favorite DC character. Like when Frank Miller did the Dark Knight Returns, like that's just incredible. And Watchmen, that was cool too. But otherwise, yeah, Marvel all the way.
Yeah, they're more realistic and everything on that type of a level. So knowing where you came from, like it's always been, so you've always, I know as long as I've known you, have always been surrounded by creativity and stuff like that. As a personal question, when was the last time you've done something musical?
I still do music. I still do it. It's in the background. Like, so what I do is I put up speed art videos, and sometimes you'll hear a beat in the background, and that's music that I've done. Sometimes I use like stock music, but a lot of the times it's music that I've created. I used to make beats back in the day, and that's never left. I don't MC anymore. I'm too old. I got the grays and all that kind of stuff. But but the beats, I still love beats, man.
Yeah, I should have pre-planned and got it out, but I still have a vinyl from some friends of mine. I still have that vinyl.
Oh no way! That's dope.
I'll let you know. Like, it must have been like a couple weeks ago, like when I first seen about interviewing you, and I sat there in my head and I was like, I still remember like probably like most of the first verse of Enter the Session. I sat there and I rapped it in my head and I was like, wow, I still know that.
That is crazy. That's dope. Respect, man. Respect. That's dope.
So the you've been doing this. So you said you have the comics right now available. Is it just through Amazon or is it through your site? So how would people get it? They go to Amazon and Google Black Sun or go to your website. How would the audience be able to get to your material?
Yep. So there's two ways to get it. So if you go to blacksuncomics.com and just scroll down a bit, you'll see pictures of the books. You click, it'll take you to Amazon. So they sell on Amazon wherever you are in the world. You can get it, right? If you're on Amazon Prime, you get it next day shipping. So that's very convenient. The other way you can get it is I do shows and events. So I'll be like at a comic convention or a pop-up shop or something like that, and I will sell books physically in person. So there's one coming up on the 28th of January that I'll be at Ajax Community Center, actually. So I do events like those. So those are the only two ways. So you get it on Amazon, or if I'm doing an event, I sell there. Usually, if I'm selling at a live event, I'll discount it a bit. So that's the benefit to getting to coming out in person. Yeah. So those are the two ways.
Okay. So yeah, those were most of the questions that I only had. It was great to definitely talk to you, and I get all of that information. Make sure to put it on to sites and make sure everybody has access to this. Definitely, make sure we're gonna have support to this. Get me the information for the thing on the 28th so I can push that as well. Like, because afterwards, I'll message you. I'm gonna message you because I'm gonna let you know why I first started, like, was looking for your contact, because not like under on stuff under the name that I would recognize.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Things have changed a bit.
Yeah. So I was looking for, I'll let you know afterwards and everything. But only when I seen like what you're doing and stuff, hacking it and whatever, and I was like, okay, I got an interview because because I started this doing during the COVID stuff and whatever. And
Gotcha.
one of the things that, well, two of the things that I wanted done, there was during the COVID, there was a large root and push of Black-owned businesses and support each other. And I was like, knowing how the Black community does, after didn't want that to die down, go away. So I'm like, I want to really push these Black businesses, the support of the Black businesses. And then the other one, I'm much on supporting my circle. Like, if you check the interview, like I have interviews with Dale, James, the brother,
Yeah, I remember Dale. Yeah,
just people around me. Yeah, so so I do that. I seen your stuff and I was like, okay, I want to see what he's about because I knew you were always creative. I definitely wanted to push that, so I'm gonna be very supportive of the things that you do because I like the idea of I was a comic, people didn't know, like, I was a comic book nerd as well. Like me and you, like, we knew each other in high school, but people didn't know that I was running home watching Star Trek. Like, like.
And this is the thing, because in our day it wasn't so cool to be a nerd, right? So you hid that stuff. You didn't tell anyone you were doing it, but you didn't say anything to anyone. Now it's mainstream.
So the images of that, like, I like it because, like, my they're getting into comics at that, like, my boy, they're just 13 now.
Oh wow, okay.
Actually 14 now, and stuff, grade 9. And they're into comics and starting to, and there's not a lot of, like, even now, there's not a lot of Black images, especially as a main. There might be a sidekick or whatever. So I very much, as a Black man, as a Black father, see the need for what you're doing. So I definitely want to be supportive of that overall mission.
Yeah, the thing is, that's actually kind of why I got back into it too, because I had been reading comics heavy, but for a while I stopped. And then I don't know, like maybe 10 years after I got my last X-Men comic, I said, let me go to a comic book store and see, society's progressing. Maybe they'll have more images of, Black characters. And I went into the comic shop and it's like, no, it's still the same thing. It's not like, nah, this can't go on. So I gotta do my own thing. So it's really looking at what I do is an alternative, right? And I encourage other Black artists and writers to do your own thing. We live in a time where we have social media and you can push yourself. So those gatekeepers aren't there. You don't have to ask someone permission to put your story out. You can just do it. So really we have to look to independent artists who are doing good work to get that representation, because it's not going to be pushed at you. You're not going to be able to go into a comic book shop and see it. You have to do a bit of digging, but if
Yes,
that's what you want to see, then that's what you got to do, and that's fine.
definitely. All right. So I do appreciate you. Tell everybody the different ways that they can find you. So we have blacksuncomics.com, and we'll have the spelling, we'll have it in the description.
Yep.
Is social media, is it just Black Sun Comics pretty much everywhere? Are you on everything
Yeah.
for them to
I'm
follow you?
on everything. It's different on TikTok. I just started TikTok. To be honest, I'm old and I don't really get it yet. So it's Black Sun Comics 1 at TikTok.
Okay.
Black BLACK, Sun SUN, Comics COMICS. On Instagram, I'm most active on Instagram, but you'll see us on YouTube and Twitter and that kind of stuff. And the only difference is on TikTok, it's Black Sun Comics 1, so ONE at the end of it. But yeah, if you go just to blacksuncomics.com, that's our official website. That will link out to everything else where you can find us. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Kelvin. It was
Oh,
great to see you. Great to
yeah,
connect with
great
you
catching
again.
up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we'll definitely put that stuff out there. Thank you guys, everybody. Make sure you guys go to the site. Make sure you guys check out the material and definitely support it. All right.
All right. Thanks again, Phil. We will be in touch.
No problem.
All right. Peace.
Hold on. Let me get you out of here. There we go. Alrighty. I do appreciate that. Thank you guys. Make sure this will be on YouTube uh, and we will also clip it out for our TikTok and Instagram. Make sure you guys like, share, follow. If you have people that you do think I should interview me, let me know. Leave it in the comments. If you didn't like anything or if you think anything I can do better, leave it in the comments. I definitely contact with everybody. I'm not as popular yet I'm not I don't look at myself as a professional media thing like that. I'm a person who has some passions and share them with the world. The King's Court Network, I let you guys know, have been the name behind everything from the first rap group I was in '92 up to now. I've been just behind everything that I do for the last 30 years there. So thank you, and this was a great interview. Great friend, and I'm very proud of what he's doing. Thank you guys, everybody. We are out, and have a great day.